So yeah, I'm Thomas Hoeger. I'm with MuleSoft since last year, but I'm 20 years in IT, 10 years with Salesforce, and working now as a strategic architect in the customer success team at MuleSoft. And what I'm going to discuss today is the API-led approach and master data management. Well, if we speak from MuleSoft about whatever is concerning MuleSoft, we have this one slide discussing forward-looking statements, which just shall give you a reminder that there are some things to consider if you make purchasing decisions, and so I need to bring it here. There was a presentation 2 weeks ago from my colleague who already gave an intro about MuleSoft. Once again, to remind you that the purpose of MuleSoft is basically to help organizations to change and innovate faster and making it easy to connect the world's applications, data, and devices. And obviously, master data management is one important part in this game. It's a solution which powers applications, data, and even devices. And in that context, MuleSoft relies heavily on an architecture pattern we call API-led integration architecture. It has a couple of advantages in terms of decoupling to have system APIs, process APIs, and experience APIs. And that's what I'm going to deep dive a little bit more, how that would work with a master data management system on behind. This was a slide shown last time from my colleague, and I just want to put it as a reminder how MarkLogic can fit into that one, but this is a very high-level thing. So let me go a little bit more into the details. And so first, to discuss about master data management patterns. Frank did a couple of interesting discussions about the very details of how master data management works and what are all the processes in behind. And there are some more, let's say, high-level patterns, which he also started to mention. And usually, if you look up master data management in the internet, you come across Gartner, and they refer to 4 styles usually. The first style they mention is the registry style. This is very much what Frank discussed with all the pros and cons. And then 3 styles: consolidation, centralized, and coexistence, which rely on a hub. And I want to show you how master data management system can well fit into that pattern of API-led architecture. To start the discussion, just want to introduce these 5 systems. So we have 2 applications, which you see on the top: a customer web portal and an internet service application. So the internal service application. This is more an internal facing application where your agents may work. And this is more an application where your customers may connect using whatever mobile device or internet portal. And both applications need to access data stored in internal systems. I call them system A, B, and C in that purpose. And we have 2 entities. Not all of these systems have all entities, but you see system C and A, they have a second one entity here. So that's the base landscape, which I will use as a discussion. And without MDM, basically what happens, you have these 5 connections, which are more or less point-to-point connections. This may work in that beginning, but if you add some more applications, it's hard to scale and implies a lot of dependencies between applications. That's why we come up with the thing what we call API-led architecture. And in that API-led architecture approach, the key thing is that for every of these 2, let's say, outside applications, the internet, the customer web portal, and the internal service application, we provide experience APIs. These are kind of the entry points and dedicated for this application entry points where they can get all the data they need. The developers of that application do not need to know where they need to get the data from. They just issue API calls, get data, patch data, put data, whatever needed to that entry point. And yeah, so that's the thing we call experience APIs. Yeah, so to start with the first style, registry style, Frank already mentioned this is kind of the easy style in the beginning, because the key thing is you build up just a registry which knows where the data are. And one thing here is as well that this registry style solution may have some metadata about which of the sources is more trustful, has more priority, but this one does not store any data in itself. And how does that look up now in an API-led approach? How would it fit into? So first of all, here is a first overview about the API layers we do have. So the experience APIs I already mentioned. And for every system we have in that game, we have system APIs. So system A, B, and C have their own system APIs, as well as the MDM master. So MarkLogic, for instance, can well fit into that one. We have a MuleSoft connector. So MarkLogic built a connector for MuleSoft, which you can easily use there to integrate and build a system API on that level. What does it mean now for the integration flow? And a read example is usually the first one. You need to read some data. With a registry style, how would it work? So the application goes to its experience API. The experience API talks to the process API, and the process API itself does a couple of calls. So first one, it checks the MDM solution. Please tell me where I can find the data and what rules do I need to apply. And then the process API would do call outs to each of the system APIs to retrieve the data. Finally, build up a response data structure, send it back to the experience API, and done. So you see, in that moment, the process API has kind of a responsibility to manage data. And that's what Frank mentioned. You need to build some of this functionality outside. Process APIs are a good place because they are the place which can be reused. And the similar would be if the other application would need to read data, it just goes to the same process API. So that's the first step here. Now, what happens if we need to write data? If we need to write data, the same thing. The application talks to the experience API. This one talks to the process API. No change so far. The process API now again turns to the MDM system API and tries to understand where it shall write the data to, and then needs to make sure to distribute the data here to all these three applications. And this can be kind of a complex thing because obviously you need to make sure that the data are actually written and that they are written in the way how needed. So usually you would probably build kind of a transaction here and make sure that the data are written to all of these systems. And you see, it is possible, it's working, and there is a lot of considerations you need to put as thought into your process APIs to manage this one. In the end, this is basically the overall communication style. Applications experience layer, process API layer, going down to the system APIs. Ultimately, obviously, there are the processes in all these systems which still may change the data on the fly based on our operations running here. No one would notice. Only upon read, it will be retrieved. Upon write, it will be done. That's the first one. Coming now to the next one style. This is the consolidation. Basically, what does consolidation mean? This is where the master data management provides a hub. This is a place where you have a golden record in your master data management system, and with all the processes around you have been listening to in the past presentations, all the things here. Still, in that approach, system A, B, and C would just have their original data. So they just copy them over and supply the master data management system with their data. In the API flow, if we think about these applications, the customer web portal and the internal service application requiring data, the high-level view on the APIs is very similar. We have the experience, process, and system APIs. Now, the communication looks a little bit different, and the complexity of the APIs look a little bit different. So for read, it's kind of simple. The experience APIs talk to the process API, nothing new. And the process APIs just need to query the master data management system, the hub, because it knows all. It has the data, it has the most valid data. This is a very easy, very simple flow and can provide the data needed. What about writing? So if you write data, there is one approach which I have drawn here, that again, the process API first talks to the MDM system and updates the data, and then the MDM system goes to the process API back and asks the process API to write the data to the relevant systems. That means the process API is the key communication part here in managing read and write operations between the external applications consuming the data and the systems here. Overall, we have a very similar communication flow, so the errors are very much the same ones, but the key here is the description, how the communication flows in between. We still have all these communications. So this was for the consolidation view. Going to the next one, style, which is a centralized style. Centralized means basically we have a hub which has the golden record in its own with all the things we discussed before. And we have in all the systems A, B, and C as well the full set of data. So they kind of mirror the golden record. And they somehow need to go there. This is kind of the most invasive thing because you need to change the data models here. There are some occasions where it makes sense. So that's why it's a valid pattern to be discussed. In terms of the API approach, for reading, there is not a big change. And for writing, that I can discuss actually here in this flow very easily. It's still the same one as before, with the own difference that there is a need to really take care on the redistribution of the data back to the system A, B, and C. So you see the difference to the before to the consolidation is not that big, but the relevant thing is we need to synchronize every data back here, and probably the hub, the master data management system, is the driver of this type of synchronization. There is the last one pattern, which is called coexistence, and this is a combination. So that means we have systems which are which just use the MDM solution as a hub, and we have a system which needs to mirror the data, but does not have all the necessary APIs for real-time consolidation. In this moment, most of the things we discussed is valid as before. However, there is one new API which we may need to introduce here, which is a batch sync API, which takes the data from the master data management hub and puts it down to the system C for updating in there. So this is the big change here, which we would put into the process layer to have it. And with that one, having discussed the API-led approach and the patterns for master data management, the question is, what is the value of API-led here in this game? And that the conclusion is basically, if you need to add a new one system here, then it's very easy. You just add a new system API for that one system. You may need to do a slight change to the process API in order to access the system. And obviously, this is very important in your master data management system. You need to build up all the logic for this new system. If it has a new entity, if there are new access holes, this needs to be built up. But the overall picture, what you see, it does not have any influence on your internal service application, on your customer web portal, because for them, it's completely agnostic. They just go through their experience APIs and get it from there. And as well, the other systems which are here in the game, they do not even realize that there is a change, that there is a system coming from. So here in that way, the API-led approach works very well in allowing you to scale, allowing you to add new data. And even if you think about adding a new application, which would require this data, you'll build just a new experience API. And with that, basically, I can finalize my presentation saying that was a slide you have seen before. I gave a little bit deeper look into the patterns, how they work with MuleSoft and the API-led approach. And obviously, MarkLogic is one of the great solutions we can include into that landscape for powering that application landscape. Thank you.